Jelltur began investigating the books on dragon lore he collected from the tunnels under Castle Saul, only to realize that they were all written in Draconic. He sought out Philia, hoping she could read them. She told him about Ogmar the Gold, chosen of the Sun, the gold dragon who had sent them on their mission to begin with. With Philia's help, Jelltur researched Garin the Black and his relation to Marasath. While Philia did not know of the clutchling they killed, she told them about Garin's son, Garandel, who escaped the attempted extermination of Garin and his line. Jelltur felt great concern from the information Philia shared, concern that was well-founded, as Garandal the Black landed on the bow of the lake turtle, seeking those who killed his son. The battle looked bleak, until Rosita's childhood friend, Nemoris the dragon turtle, appeared to defend the ship. So, you are on the lake turtle, and you're coming into port. The high walls of the city of Mace lie before you. The walls are actually so high that they are blotting out the setting sun. You know you still have probably another 45 minutes to an hour worth of daylight left. But these walls tower so high that you cannot see the sun. So because of this, the docks are actually dark. They are only lit by torchlight and braziers that are meant to help oncoming ships come into port. So Rosita gives the orders to bring the ship in, tie it off at the dock. She has Grunt and Groan, her two lads. They take the gangplank, they put it out, and she goes down to speak with the dockmaster. This leaves you all on board to do as you will.
I'm gonna look over the side of the ship to look out at the city.
You're not able to see much of the city proper because the wall is so high.
Or to look at this massive wall, this massive structure that people have built.
Yeah, this is massive. This is stone laid on stone. You've never seen anything like this before, except perhaps the castle that you were held in when you first met the rest of the group. But even then, you never really got a good look at it from the outside. You were pretty much limited to just the cell you were in. But this wall, this goes maybe like 100 feet up, maybe more. You're not really sure. It's taller than some trees. Just made of stone and completely encasing in this giant ring this entire city. And what you can see of what's inside the city is a massive stone structure way off in the distance, sitting on top of a hill, overlooking the entire city.
That is amazing.
It really is, isn't it?
Why would everyone want to live in a giant building like this?
And I just kind of look over to you. This is not a house, this is a city. This is a wall around the city.
So the wall is bigger than the houses inside?
Yes,
Why would they need such a huge wall?
to protect the houses.
So as you guys are pondering the wall, Rosita's going to return. Well, we made it into port in time to dock. Unfortunately, the curfew has set and the doors to the city are closed for the evening. Luckily, the dock town is open to us. I'm going to be taking a room at the Two-Headed Trout this evening to get a little time away from my ship and get drunk. If you like, you are all welcome to join me. The boys need to let off a little steam.
Understandably. And would you like some company tonight?
I always enjoy good company.
Well then, let's go.
So you all disembark. Well, you actually had one of the furthest slips. So as you walk, you're all seeing this long line of ships. There are probably 10 or 12 ships that are docked here. And between the sheer number of ships and looking at their size, it kind of gives you a much better idea of how large this lake is. You couldn't really see the shoreline once you went out into it, but this kind of really sets a scale. However, Rosita has also explained to you that there are water pathways that lead from the lake out into open ocean. And some of these ships were actually built to go into deep ocean water, so they actually traverse between the two. JJ.
Yo.
Make me a perception check.
The one thing I'm not good at. 19.
19? There's a beautiful Darkwood ship. It is much larger than the others. Long, billowing sails tied up on the massive masts, more than one. But your eyes are drawn to the side of the ship, where you see the name, the Spirit of Eltrun.
Mother of fuck. Is that what I think it is? That's the ship I was on, right?
That was the ship you were on. That was the ship that was captained by Captain Xanaris. It is the slave ship that you were transported on.
That's gonna be annoying. Now I put my hood up.
But as you're making your way towards the two-headed trout, suddenly you hear bells ringing. And Jelltur, with what you just saw, your heart jumps into your throat like, oh shit, what the fuck is that? Until you hear the cry, fire! Fire! And you turn to see that a little further down the dock, there's a ship engulfed in flame.
Huh.
You hear cries, people saying, the Temira is burning. And while there are a lot of people running from it, you also hear screaming coming from on board.
I'm going to take off running.
I'd dash.
And this is where we're going to have initiative.
Not great, but 11.
17.
I have a 14.
15.
Alright, so Piper, you take off running for this ship. And then a blur of dark fur just goes shooting past you. As Scratch, you're up.
I will run up to the ship. Can I tell where the shouting is coming from?
You get to the gangplank, you run up it, and you just see the flames licking up the side of the ship. You see that the mast is catching, and the flames are crawling up towards the crow nest and spreading out onto the sails. But you also see in the center of the deck, there's a wooden trellis or gate, much like you had on the Lake Turtle, where they would open it and send crates and boxes down. That is where the screams are coming from.
Is it like locked, or is there a way in there?
As you approach, you do see that there's a lock, and it's shaped like a padlock, but it is a massive hunk of metal that is hooked through a metal latch that keeps the grate closed. And it's probably the size of both of your fists put together. So it is a hefty lock.
Can I open it, or is it...
You would need to either pick the lock to open it, or break through the trellis.
What's the trellis made of?
It's made of wood, but they are thick, heavy beams.
Is there something I can use for leverage?
Go ahead and make me an investigation check.
There might be a key.
Investigation, 18.
18. You do find some tools. Specifically, there's a crowbar sitting next to some of the crates that the ship had been carrying. People had been in the middle of opening them, and so there's a crowbar sitting right on top.
I grab the crowbar, and I try to pry the door open.
All right. Give me an athletics check, but at advantage because you have the crowbar.
Natural 20. And a natural 1.
Nice. Alright, so you take that crowbar, you get it underneath the latch, and you just strain, and suddenly, pop! And the lock just goes flying off. You might even hear just plunk as it falls into the water. But that's going to be your turn. So next up, we have Kreg.
Alright, I see a ship on fire. I'm gonna rage.
Alright, so in your fury, you rage towards the ship.
Yeah, and I bound on all fours as I do it.
Oh, that's a horrifying image.
This is what he usually does, though.
I know, but I'm just picturing this gnome with a purple mohawk bounding on all fours with this battle axe just strapped to his head, handle just waving wildly like some demented unicorn horn.
Yeah, no, I'm going to the ship and I'm going to... What do I see when I get to the
You see Scratch just break off this lock and the lock just goes flying.
My next thing is I'm literally going to open the door.
Alright, so this is a massive, heavy wooden cage, basically. It's basically a cage.
I'm aware.
This is something that usually takes multiple people to open, with tools. You can make the attempt, but keep in mind, it's very heavy.
Kreg has done weirder things, so I'm gonna let...
He has, but this is going to be a difficult athletics check.
That is perfectly fine, and I have advantage because it's strength-based, I believe.
It is, and you do because you're raging.
27!
Alright, so you just go to the other side of Scratch, and your two stubby little gnomish arms just reach under and through the wooden slats and grab this door. And you just start walking back, and the sound of wood just scraping against wood starts screaming through the flames as you're dragging this, what is probably a 500-pound door. Then when you're probably about halfway back, you just kind of torque your body and send it flying back behind you and smashing through the doors that you assume probably lead into like the captain's quarters or something. But now has this giant hunk of broken wood embedded in it now. And the hole in the floor is now completely open. I'm gonna say that's Kreg's turn. So, Jelltur, you are up.
This is very efficient.
You guys are doing very well.
Yeah, we really are.
I see the three of them rush to the burning ship. Interesting.
You don't do anything?
I mean, I guess I'll follow after them.
So you go up the gangplank and you see that Scratch and Kreg have just ripped open this trellis in the middle of the deck. The same kind that you know on the lake turtle was used for storage. And you can see down and you see that some of the slaves managed to get out or get close to call for help. But others are chained down, and you remember the slabs that you were shackled to when you were on the Spirit of Altrun. They can't even get up. They are chained down and screaming for help.
Can I just drop down and try to pick the locks on some of these chains?
Sure, make me a quick intelligence check.
I'm not bad at that. 15.
15. Okay, you remember when you were first captured, you spent a lot of time thinking, how do I get out of this? After a while, you realized you really couldn't and stopped worrying about it. But back when you were still planning, you saw that there was a long chain that ran through each slave's manacles, including your own. Basically, daisy chaining everyone together. There are two sides here, and you feel that if you're able to pick the lock on the two chains, one on each side, they'd still be in their manacles, but they'd be able to slip the chain and be able to get out.
Okay, I'll do that.
And I'm going to need a Thieves' Tools check.
So, 22.
22. Okay, so you run over to the first one, and with ease, you just pop that lock. And you're able to shout for that side to move. But that is going to be your turn. Piper, from where you are on the docks, you see a bunch of dock workers just mobilize. There's one in particular. It's a large half-orc woman. There's some running away. She grabs them by the back of their collar, pulls them in line, shoves a bucket in their hands, and she just starts barking orders. And she's getting this fire brigade going. It's just a bucket line. They're trying to throw water on it, slow down the burn. You get the feeling it's not going to be effective enough to stop the fire, but it's slowing things down.
I mean, that's excellent, but I am also fire resistant, so I'm going in to try to help the people.
Alright, so you just run up the gangplank, and without hesitation, you just drop in to start helping those people.
Yep. And just start trying to help people, like, up through the trellis, just, like, help.
Alright, you see that Jelltur has popped the lock on half of these people's chains. They are still manacled, but they're shuffling forward, and you can tell that they're fairly weak. They're malnourished. They have not been using their bodies, their muscles. They've been lashed down to these probably for weeks. So you manage to help support some of them, especially the weaker ones, as you get them to the trellis. And I'm assuming Scratch and Kreg are above, so you're helping get them up, and Scratch and Kreg will be pulling them up.
Yeah, like I help give them a boost up and they pull them out.
Craig's kind of foaming at the mouth as he's pulling people up, so it's a little disturbing for the people who are grabbing, but I don't think they're really paying attention to that.
Probably not. But if that's what Piper is going to be doing with her turn, then we are going to go to the top of the order, bringing us back to Scratch. Scratch, give me a perception check.
Perception, 12.
Alright, you're not particularly used to ships, but after the amount of time you spent on it, you do feel it kind of shudder under your feet a bit in a way that, with your limited knowledge, you know feels wrong. You haven't felt the lake turtle do anything like this before.
I will help them pull people out, get people off the ship.
Alright, so you are helping speed up the process of getting people off the ship because you are recognizing that time is definitely of the essence here. Kreg.
I'm gonna rage help.
You're gonna rage help.
I get...
Just make me a quick wisdom check.
12.
Oh god, that was just what you needed. One lower, and you would have just been launching these people out of there. You'd just be grabbing them, throwing them, grabbing them, throwing them. No idea where you'd be throwing them, probably into the water, where their manacles would drown them. But even in your rage, you're able to kind of temper your control a little. You know, understand that, they are weak. I am strong. So they barely get a chance to climb. You just kind of grab them and pull them out.
They're
yeah,
weak. No. I'm strong. I loved every second of that.
He retains enough of his mental faculties just to keep from hurling these people into the lake. Alright, Jelltur, you have unlocked one side. There is still the other side to do.
I'm gonna head to the other side. If I have to bonus action dash, I'll do that. If I must.
It's not that wide. You can get there with your movement. This is a smaller ship than the one you were on. The Tamara is probably about a third the size of the Spirit of Eltrun, and probably about half the size of the Lake Turtle.
That is +4, so 18. That is 18.
18. So you're feeling the cold of the water as it starts to seep up your pants. Like it's coming up past your ankles, past your shins, past your knees, and you're feeling the stress of that. But even through that stress, that nerves, you're able to keep your hands from shaking, and you just work the lock. You focus on working the lock. until finally you just click. You get the lock, and you call out to the people. They start pulling the chains out.
I'm just gonna go.
So they are moving, and Piper, you are continuing to help.
Yep.
And the bucket chain is still going. They're throwing water. This half-orc has them, like, efficient. But so the fire is becoming less of a problem.
The sinking, not so much.
Yeah, the sinking, not so much. And so, Jelltur, as you get over to where Piper is currently helping people up, you see that the water is about where her calves are.
Yeah?
And there are still approximately 10 people to get out. Scratch, you're continuing to help?
Yep, I'm gonna keep helping.
All right.
I'm gonna just fly up.
Oh, you could. I was gonna give you a boost too, but that's fine.
Jelltur's just gonna fly out, and I think this is where we're going to break the initiative, because you guys pretty much have it. The only problems left are that the ship is still sinking. The fire's not really much of an issue. The ship is still sinking, and you have those people you still need to get out. So it would probably be like, if Piper is the last one out, she would probably be water up to her neck at this point. But with the door gone and the ship sunk as low as it is, it's easy enough for her to just swim out.
Kreg would have helped her.
Just like grab onto Craig's arm and just pull up.
And as you guys go, you're going to have to like run up part of the bow and jump to the dock. Because where the gangplank was, it's now underwater. From where you are all standing on the dock, you see what's left of the ship. There's part of the prow sticking out and part of the mast, a little bit on fire, but at this point, no one's bothering to extinguish it because the entire ship has been basically scuttled.
Insurance isn't going to cover that.
At least people got saved.
Two things. Two very important questions. One, where are the where's the crew at? And two, why the hell did the ship catch fire?
To answer both those questions, you see at the other end of the dock, there is this large man just screaming, "This was sabotaged! I've been sabotaged!"
Bryan, as I'm doing this, I'm starting to like try to break the people out of their chains and everything.
This was sabotage! Hey, you! Stop! Stop, that's my merchandise! Stop breaking those chains!
His mouth is still foaming and he's still angry. He's still punching himself as he's helping these people, and he just stares at them in the usual Kreg manner of just like, ah!
Both my questions answered immediately.
A couple men will just step up out of the crowd. You can tell that these are probably guards based on their wearing uniforms and armor.
I just kind of wring my hair out of the water.
I'm keeping my hood up, by the way, just in case.
Now that you get a closer look at the uniforms, you see that they're wearing simple chainmail, underneath which they have these red tunics. They're wearing cloaks that are in uniform, but they're just a simple brown. And they're wearing helms, but they seem to be more like, almost like they're made of hide or leather. They're not particularly strong, well-crafted. These seem like simple city guards. And they approach you specifically, Kreg. Hands are on the weapons, but not drawn. And they just say to you, excuse me, sir, we appreciate what you've done here. You saved this man's property, but we're going to need you to stop breaking their chains. That is, they belong to him, and if you continue further, we're going to have to arrest you for theft or destruction of property.
I don't know what's going on, so my first instinct as Kreg is to basically make new friends, and two new people just graciously walked up. So he drops his rage, he goes, "Oh, hi!" runs straight up to both of them, and he just starts chatting them up like in normal Kreg fashion. "How are you? I'm Kreg. How are you? Oh, ooh, that's a nice armor."
Thank you. He just puts his hand out, kind of like, just stop. We thank you for what you've done. He turns to the rest of you as well. We thank you all for what you've done, but we will take it from here. And that big man is still yelling, "It was sabotage, I say!" And the guard just turns, "We will investigate. Please collect your property and take it to the block."
The block. What is the block?
"Oh, you're new to town," he says, turning back to you. "Well, it's the trading block. That's where slaves are taken to be auctioned off."
Okay.
And you do see that some of the people that you rescued are looking pretty worried. And while you may have gotten some of the manacles off, they all are wearing collars. That's something you didn't have, Jelltur, but these slaves do.
Gotcha.
And they look worried.
I mean, if you were a slave, wouldn't you look worried?
Well, yes, of course.
Not saying that I wasn't almost a slave and was slightly worried, but you know.
So the guards start ushering the slaves and the screaming man, who you assume was probably the captain of the ship that just burned down.
Safe assumption.
And they start leading him in the direction that Rosita said you couldn't go, you assume would lead you into town. But with a guard escort, you assume that they're going to be brought into the city. You, however, don't have such an escort.
Could I potentially sneak in with them?
If you want to be away from the party for the rest of the next 2 games, go ahead.
When we put it like that, nah. I'm good.
So, with the imminent danger of the fire extinguished, the Tamira now sitting at the bottom of the lake, the slaves, rescued from drowning or burning, whichever fate would have been worse, you don't know what fate awaits them now, however.
What fate awaits them? Whoever buys their
It's a
asses.
matter of who buys them and what
Yes,
happens to
it
them.
entirely depends on the temperament of the person who buys them. Cruel or benevolent. Though I suppose if you're benevolent, you're not buying people. Do you continue your way toward the two-headed trout?
Yeah, to the two-headed trout, I guess.
Any place we can go to relax.
So you actually see that there's kind of a shanty town set up outside the wall of Mace. There are some larger buildings that you feel are probably warehouses, some smaller shacks or shelters that make up the community of those that live outside the wall. But the thing that really catches your eye is this large-ish building. It's not as large as the warehouses, but it is definitely large. And it looks like an overturned ship, so the roof is the bottom of a ship. And then there was a normal structure built underneath. Unlike the shelters or the warehouses, this one is well lit. There are candles, torches, there's activity, and you see a sign hanging by the door. It is a very nice wooden sign. The entire thing is carved to look like a two-headed fish, and written in a delicate hand is the words, "The Two-Headed Trout." So as you approach, Rosita looks at you all and says, "Well, I'm glad to see that if such a thing had happened on my vessel, you would have acted just as quick, if not quicker."
But of course, darling.
"Well, how about we buy the heroes a drink?" She opens the door to this establishment, and you see that the inside is bustling. Now, that's not to say that it's lively, it's not an excited air by any means, but there's a lot of movement going on here. It is just packed to the walls with dock workers here, and you see some of them just covered in sweat and dirt from the day, some of them covered in ash, as though they had been part of the bucket line from where you had just come from. There are waitresses struggling to move around. Their tables are tightly packed. It smells very ripe in there. And you see a gruff-looking human standing at the bar. You actually see there are very few people actually at the bar. Most of them are sitting at tables. And they're kind of just talking amongst themselves. So Rosita just walks right up to the bar, leans against it, and goes, "Gunter, a round for my friends, please." And Gunter kind of looks at her, looks at you, looks back at her, nods, and just starts pouring.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
He just nods at you and hands you the drink.
Thank you.
Can I just get something non-alcoholic?
He looks at you for a second,
I don't have a very good constitution, sir.
then he points at the door and just says, Lake. Then he just pours you an ale and puts it
I'll
down.
take it.
Yeah.
I don't know what cats in drink, but whatever I'm offered, I'll drink.
He hands you an ale. I mean, you've had that before.
So we find a place to sit?
There's a handful of open tables, and you grab one, then you just sit and have your drinks.
I slide my drink to Kreg and I take out my water skin. I'm like, I mean, he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong about the lake.
Nope, he was not.
First, Kreg downs his, and then he starts on Jelltur's.
Does he start on Jelltur's? Like, does he down Jelltur's, or does he sip at Jelltur's?
No. He downs his just because, ooh, thanks, and then he starts sipping Jelltur's.
So he just shotguns the first one to get the buzz going, and then sips at the second to keep it nice.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps him sleep at night. It works.
Whatever floats his boat, man.
He snores like a motherfucker, though.
And on the other side, Sara, please roll a perception.
Yes, and Sara rolled a 17 for perception, so I assume that's good enough to recognize the people who saved the people on the ship.
Oh, an 8 would have been enough to recognize them.
Excellent. So the half-orc lady who was organizing the bucket chain comes over, and she kind of like slams her hands down on the table to like get all your attention, because she's not subtle. And she goes, "Hey, you guys, I saw you guys going in there and saving the people, and I wanted to thank you so much. My name's Petunia. I'm the Dock Workers Union president. So so union rules is that we are only required to put out the fire on the ship. We are not instructed or permitted really to go in and save any of the merchandise for the safety of the dock workers. You understand?"
She's the OSHA rep of the dock. God damn it.
Makes sense.
Rosita just looks at you and goes, "Hello, Petunia. How are you doing?"
Rosita, thank you. Are these lovely people with you?
They took passage with me at Brath before it was put to the sword.
Oh,
They helped us get a lot of the people out.
yeah, I can see that, because clearly they rushed in there without a thought for themselves, and I mean, we get adventurers through here, don't get me wrong, but not everybody would put their lives on the line for and she makes like the quotation marks for merchandise, and believe me, we don't love that, but you know, we gotta stick to the union rules on this, otherwise they're gonna come down on us hard. So I'm just wanted to thank you guys for getting those people out.
So is a union like a guild?
Yeah, I suppose you could call it that. Where we have meetings, you know, we have meetings once a month, and we make sure that the people who are employing us aren't taking advantage of us, you know. In fact, getting the ability to not be required to rush in to save people's merchandise at our own expense was something that we won. We won that last year, actually, and it's been really good.
Do you have dental?
Do we have dental? I mean, yeah, for the most part, you know, dentists are kind of hit and miss around here, you know, and she kind of like looks, she points at her orc.
Usually what they do is if you have a broken tooth, they hit it and you don't miss it.
I mean, but you know, we've
Shut up, Bryan.
Counts.
we got dental. We don't have vision though, but that's okay.
So it's a workers guild.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. I would say that.
Piper, give me a quick
darling.
insight check.
15.
The whole time Petunia is talking, Rosita is just sipping at her drink, but she's using it to hide a smile.
I just kind of look at Rosita. I sip my drink like, okay. But of course we saved them. People were in trouble.
And I'm glad you were able to. Is what I wanted to say. Wanted to thank you very much. So you were in Brath? What brings you to Mace?
Adventure!
The destruction of Brath.
Brath caught fire.
I bet they didn't have a union to put it out, did they?
Rosita looks and she just goes, well, it caught fire, it caught goblins, caught bugbear, it caught drow, so...
It caught an elf invasion.
It was overrun. We
Oh,
managed
wow.
to get the people out.
Wow, I hadn't heard that. And you hear a lot of stuff down here at the docks, but that hadn't quite made it to my ears yet. I'm interested to hear about your adventures and what's going on over there, you know?
Well, the Dark Elves seem to be on a warpath.
But we have Jelltur the Dragon Slayer, and all was well.
Jelltur the Dragon Slayer? Really? Which one of you is Jelltur?
This one right here.
She starts singing, Jelltur the Dragon Slayer, Jelltur the Dragon Slayer. Yeah, I know that one. That's a good one. Oh my
Don't worry, I'm working on something a little bit catchier.
Yes, we have the Jelltur the Dragon Slayer.
Oh, wow.
You must have heard of him by now.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's all we've been singing. That's been the hot new shanty while we're unloading the boats. It's a good one. It's got a good rhythm. It's got a good punch. It keeps your breath in line.
How the fuck did it make it here before us?
It shouldn't have.
And it made it here. It made it here, and the news of the city did not, but the song did.
Also, I'm working on something much better. That tells a story.
You really don't need to.
Oh, yes, I do, darling. Don't worry about it.
I actually will worry about it.
Petunia turns to Jelltur and goes, Did you really slay 3 dragons using just lockpicks and
No.
and a dinner fork? Because that's what we've
No.
heard.
That you've been told lies.
This is why I need to finish my version of it that tells the story better.
That's more lies, though. But
No.
that's more lies.
It's not.
It was a
No,
joint.
not.
It was a joint effort between me and my associates here.
Oh, yes, and not only that, when he killed the dragon, it was so that he could get the information to rescue the entire town of Brath.
Wow. A real actual hero from the songs here in our tavern. That's amazing. I'm so proud that you guys
I
could
look
help
dead
me.
at Scratch and say, I like your non-talking cousin better, referring to Tutti.
Oh no, he talks quite a lot. Don't you worry. You should hear the shit he said.
He just turns his little face to you, Jelltur, and just goes,
Now that was uncalled for.
I'm okay with that kind of talk.
Hey, Piper, maybe we should do a rendition for the bar.
That would be wonderful. They would all love that. It's been a long, tough day. You can see everybody's tired after fighting that fire. I'm sure leading a rousing rendition of that would really endear you to the dock workers here.
It's still a little rough. I'm still trying to finish it.
So while that's taking place, I'm gonna go and get a room.
Nope. Petunia clamps down a hand. Nope. Petunia clamps down a hand on your shoulder and like turns to the bar and is like, "Hey everyone, we've got Jelltur the Dragon Slayer here. Let's sing his song and show him how much we love the song."
If I had a pencil right now, it would be snapped.
So the sailors all kind of turn and look at you like, oh, all right.
But you know anybody in the union gets real excited about that.
So 3 guys get real excited
Oh,
about
what kind
that.
of union is this? Come on, man.
And so Rosita actually leans over to you, Piper, and goes, they kind of humor her about the union thing.
Oh.
They respect her wishes, they really do, but it's really not as organized as she likes to think it is.
Oh, why you gotta do me like that, Bryan?
So, Sara, you have 3 really devout followers in this union. The others are just kind of like, alright, you know, they listen to you because you could snap them in half if they
Oh,
didn't.
you're killing me here. Alright, I have a side quest now. Alright.
Yeah, so you see 3 guys that are just like, oh yeah, boss, no, this is great, yeah, let's do this. And the rest of them are just like, alright, Sure, I'm drunk enough for this. And the others are just like, oh yeah, we talked about this at the last meeting.
No, we didn't talk about it at the last meeting.
Oh, but I thought you said we'd be singing more.
Oh.
My hood is up the entire time.
We was talking about doing more sing-alongs, right, boss?
I'm the boss. All right, yeah, and she kind of like has one hand like real firm clamped on Jelltur's shoulder, like, and then with the other hand, like I have like a tankard and I kind of like hold it up, and like I look back at like Piper and like, you said you had another song. You said you had another piece you were working on about the great Jelltur and his slaying of dragons.
I mean, yeah.
Piper, we'd love to hear it.
I just kinda look over to Petunia, give her a small wink, pick up my viol. Just remember, not perfect yet. I'm still working on it. And I strike up a tune. Jelltur, Jelltur of little greed, battle the dragon up here, noble deed. All for the people, not glory or gold, caring not if his story be told. Jelltur, Jelltur of little fame, soon every soul will cheer your name. A hero who fights for the people of Mace, a hero who wears a mask for his face. I finish the song, put my viol aside, and raise my drink to toast Jelltur.
Oh, to Jelltur!
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 Jelltur, the mighty dragon slayer!
Jelltur!
Guys, shut the fuck up. I hate all of you.
Piper, do me a favor. Make me a performance check at advantage.
How's a 25 do you?
So before you had an entire bar full of people that were just kind of humoring Petunia on this whole idea. Now they're really getting into it. They're really excited. They're singing along where they can. They're enjoying themselves. And Gunter is standing at the bar just kind of looking around like, I am not used to this kind of attitude in my bar. He just kind of pours a glass, raises it, and slides it to you, like, this is for you, kind of thing.
Oh my god, yes.
I go and I get the drink.
Yeah, Petunia like throws back the mug and is like, that was... I mean, we don't get bards in here that often, but like... And the ones we do get are like, not, you know, they're kind of too big, but that was a performance for the ages. We loved it.
I am the amazing Pied Piper for a reason.
Phenomenal.
Making a name for yourself and Jelltur at the same time.
Absolutely. Loved it. Loved it.
Never do anything for one reason, darling.
So as the night moves on, the atmosphere changes slightly. It's become a lot more jovial, but I need for everyone to make a perception check.
17.
18.
13.
12.
6.
Alright, so it's pretty much just Jelltur and Piper notice this. The party, as Kreg said, is kind of kicking off. It's not really what you're expecting. Kreg, you said you like jump up on the table and start dancing. And they're not really feeling that. They're like, hey, okay, but not really their mood. Though it has gotten more jovial. People are chatting, they break out games of dice or cards. So you're not getting a lot of like dancing and singing and merrymaking, but you have a bunch of people who had started the night off fairly somber and are now like, hey, you know what? It's actually a good night. We didn't lose anybody, nothing really bad happened. We lost a ship, but that's no skin off our nose. Let's enjoy ourselves.
We've got a hero in town.
And there's a gnome dancing on the table over there. Whatever, whoever he wants to love. We got a hero in town. We got drinks. We got games. We're good.
I mean, I'd be happy to play more if people wanted it.
Yeah, so Piper, you'll play more, but it's more that you're adding to the atmosphere. You're not getting like into club, people getting up and dancing and having a good time. It's more like, yeah, we're chill here.
Yeah. Bring We brought the mood up.
You brought the mood up, and that's not something that usually happens around here. And Petunia especially could tell you that anytime that bards really come into town, usually they go within the walls almost immediately. They go into where the people of Mace are, and you would sarcastically be like, yeah, they don't stay here with us lowly dock workers.
Yeah, we get the crappy ones. We get the opening acts. We don't get the headliners.
Yeah, they either just come through, they stay on their ship because there's a curfew. At a certain time, the gates just close. So they'd rather stay on their ship where they know they're safe. Then the next day, they would get their visas, go into the city, and they would stay within the walls.
I mean, eventually, but, you know, I get to spend a night on shore with this lovely lady over here, so...
I mean...
Petunia wiggles her eyebrows.
Rosita just kind of raises her drink. But at that point, Piper, you do notice, and you do as well, Jelltur. Mostly because you're trying to ignore the song and the drinks being handed to you and the people celebrating you. You know, as they like clap you on the back and they sing what they can remember of the song because they've been drinking and it was long. And of course that means that they're getting some of the facts even more wrong. This is how rumors start.
I don't even know what to say. It's just...
You know what you say, darling? You say thank you.
For Jelltur, this is a sensory overload.
So you're just trying to focus on anything else. Give me anything else to look at, anything else to focus on. And the two of you both, around the same time, your eyes lock across the room, where there's a man sitting by himself at a table. His mug just clutched in his hands so tight that his knuckles have turned white. His shoulders are just shaking, and you can see tears silently rolling down his face. This has been the Reliably Chaotic podcast. Champions of Solane is an original Dungeons & Dragons adventure written by Bryan Scharf using the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rule set published by Wizards of the Coast. My name is Bryan Scharf, and I've been your DM. You can reach me at ReliableDM on Twitter.
My name is Nicole Summers, and I play Piper.
This is Jair, also known as JJ, and I play the character of Jelltur Jactus.
This is Matthew Reed, and I play Scratch.
This is Andrew Brown, and I play Kreg.
Hey, it's me, it's Sara, and I played Petunia.
Theme music by Adrian von Ziegler. All other music by Kevin MacLeod on the Incompetech website and Adrian von Ziegler. Detailed information about music in this episode is provided in its description. Music for this episode was selected by Nicole Summers. The episode was edited by Matthew Reed with assistance from Sara. Contact us on Twitter at Reliably Chaotic, email us at reliablychaotic@gmail.com, or join our Discord server by following the link in our description. If you like our show and would like to support us, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/reliablychaotic or by leaving a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. It really does help a lot. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again in our next adventure.